Canada just lost 84,000 jobs in the month of February, and here in BC, we made up almost a quarter of those job losses with over 20,000 here in our own backyard. We have youth unemployment rising. We have the core age of unemployment numbers rising as well. And what is going to happen with this real estate market? Looking at the data coming up to this first quarter, we can see that this is a slower start for 2025, which I did not think was going to be possible. 2026 is proven to be a slog. And what is this going to have an effect on this Vancouver market? So we have the data here that we're going to be going through, show you the numbers, and just giving you some opinions of what we're seeing on the ground and what some of these projections are going to look like in the next couple months in the year of 2026. So the first thing that I want to bring up here on screen is this is directly from the Government of Canada, from their highlights of their labor force survey from February 2026. And what you're going to see right here is that employment declined by 84,000 in February, and that the employment rate fell 0.2% points to 60.6%, and the unemployment rate increased 0.2 percentage points to 6.7%. So when we saw this data come out, this was a real marker for the Bank of Canada in which they make their decisions of when it comes to their policy rate. When we start seeing these big job losses, especially when the markets were betting that we were going to see somewhere in around of a 10,000 job gain in February, and we completely went underneath that. Another really troubling stat with all of this is when we look at where these job losses came from. And as I scroll down here, what we are going to see as I find this out here is that in February, the number of people working full-time declined by 108,000. So the employment declines concentrated in the full-time work. Sometimes when these job data comes out, and when we see 108,000 full-time jobs affected, this is very, very concerning. The report goes on to say that in February, as employment fell and more people searched for work, the unemployment rate was virtually unchanged from 12 months earlier, where it was 6.6% in February of 2025. So we're a little bit behind that at that 6.7% marker on a wash, but I do think it's quite concerning when you are seeing the full-time market in terms of jobs being heavily affected here, right? So we can see unemployment rate up among youth. Among youth aged 15 to 24, the employment rate rose 1.3 percentage points to 14.1% in February, as employment for this group fell by 47,000. So, we are in this arena where there's a ton of pressure on the young people in this country. Just the world that we're living in, we know all what's going on in Iran. It's super volatile. And then when these young people who are coming out of university trying to get their feet started in society, this is very devastating, right? We need to have an employment package that is incentivizing people and exciting the Canadian or the young Canadian people to get into the workforce. We are needing the next generation to rise up, to help with our economy, to help with everything else. And when housing is so high and feels so out of reach for so many young people, plus, they're going through these huge job losses in that segment as well, what a lot of these people are going to do is start looking elsewhere for better opportunities. And we can't afford, especially in Canada, to lose our youth and to lose our talent to other places as well. When we look at unemployment rate rising for core-aged men, this is something that is of importance as well. Among core-aged men, the unemployment rate rose 0.3 percentage points to 5.7 in February, and this remained below the recent high of 6.3%. It is something of note. It does note in here that the three provinces that have been hit hardest by the tariffs are BC, Ontario, and Quebec. And that's why when we go to the next report here showing what some of these losses are here in BC. I do want to bring this up here as we're talking about the employment rate by age group. So total rate here, this is 15 years and older. You can see how this just continues to rise since 2023 for those people in those segments. Then we go to youth, 15 to 24 years old, which is a very vulnerable age. People getting out of high school, people finishing their university degrees and coming into a place where there's just not work available is not good. And overall for the real estate market, this is not a good thing either. 14.1% youth unemployment rate from 15 15 to 24. Core age, 25 to 54. These are people in their prime working years, getting close to retirement. You can see this has continued to go up since January of 2023 as well. And then people 55 years and older, that unemployment rate is actually starting to decline, which on the backside of everything, if you are continuing to work and the unemployment rate continues to drop, is that stating that people are now obviously being forced to work longer than 55. I mean, the Freedom 55 thing in Vancouver and across Canada is something that we are not living in anymore. As we come into BC, this is an article from the Business Intelligence for BC, and you can see BC losses 20,000 jobs in February as labor market stumbles out the gate in 2026. The main drivers, construction and real estate, among the hardest hit sectors. And we know that BC relies so heavily with their GDP from real estate and construction. And with what's been happening in this real estate market and how slow it's been, projects being canceled, projects being put off, projects being slowed down, it has definite results going down the food chain. And I know I read it in the comments all the time. People are cheering for this housing market to crash and cheering for interest rates to go lower. But what I think people don't understand is if this stuff happens, it means that our economy is in a very, very bad place. The Bank of Canada was looking that possibly they could raise rates coming up moving forward in 2026. But when you start having job data like this, it can start to put an opposite spin, and maybe they're more open to dropping it a quarter point to help ease some of this as well. But when these rates are dropping, it means our economy is not doing well. So as a homeowner, that's not a good thing. That means there's less people that can afford to purchase your home. And perhaps, on the buy side, that is an advantageous position to take. But when people are losing their jobs and people are not in a good space with their overall confidence, and we know that confidence is what's really driving the real estate market right now as well. Just where rates are in terms of mortgage rates, we know housing has also come down a great deal over the last little bit, but we're still well below the 10-year average in terms of sales because the confidence is just not there. As we go down in the article here, you can see that after tepid growth of 3,500 jobs in January, the province followed up with the losses of 20,200. So almost a quarter of all job losses were directly here in British Columbia. According to the StatCan release, the province's unemployment rate remains static at 6.1%. And something of note here, that the losses on the West Coast were driven by full-time work, minus 32,500 jobs, with some of the losses offset by part-time work, plus 12,300. So again, you're seeing this huge dramatic change in full-time work. It does get picked up a little bit by part-time. No one's going to be able to provide food on the table and have a good life based on part-time work. Construction, as highlighted with the real estate industry, lost 6,900 jobs. Finance, insurance, real estate lost 5,400 jobs, and healthcare lost 4,900 jobs as well. As we continue on here, BMO chief economist Douglas Porter states, as much as it would be nice to say that there were some mitigating results, the report was weak almost from head to toe. After the surprising strength in jobs last fall, the recent weakness has washed those gains completely away. And as I mentioned previously, that BC, Ontario, and Quebec have seen the exact same 0.4% year-over-year decline in employment from 2025. And those three provinces are the ones that have been hardest hit with those U.S. tariffs on their exports as well. An interesting note as we finish off this article, we talked about the job data not being great. We know inflation is starting to rise with what's happening in Iran. And Andrew Hennick, who is a TD senior economist, states the wildcard to all this is how big the inflation shock from the ongoing conflict in the Middle East will be. The duration of the supply disruption remains highly uncertain, but its length will impact inflation and thereafter consumer spending and economy at large. So how, with this job data, with what's going on in Iran, what is really propping this market up? Yes, we've seen in Vancouver having these drops that have been quite considerable, something that we haven't seen in quite some time, but the carpet has not been pulled out from underneath. And I want to explain a little bit why that is. So this is an old article from 2023. This is MLA, but it states saying that Vancouver's real estate reality, a city divided with half of households living mortgage free. So as stated, this is an article from February 13, 2023. This is based on census data from 2021. Canadian census data comes out every 5 years. So it's going to be really interesting to see what this specific stat line is displayed. So at the time in 2021, it was stated that around 50% of all Vancouver homeowners did not have a mortgage, right? So this is one of the bigger reasons why this Vancouver market continues to get propped up, is due to the fact of this one big thing. Yes, there's likely a huge amount of foreign inflow from this, but what this does is help prop the market up. despite job losses, despite inflation, if people don't have a mortgage, they are not concerned about how high rates have been for the last couple of years. They're not concerned about all this avalanche of renewals that are coming up this year as well in 2026. And what also perpetuates when people ask me, well, who is buying real estate here? It's those individuals who are mortgage free or have a small mortgage left on their home, have a ton of equity. They're either downsizing and giving those money to their family, right? Over 95% of all my buyers are getting help from a grandparent, from a parent, from an uncle who have downsized, maybe took a home equity line of credit. Because for the most part, even though this job data is really concerning, there are still a lot of people out here that have decent jobs. They can make a mortgage payment, but the issue usually is, from my perspective, they can't come up with a down payment, especially if they're looking for more of a family home north of 1.5 million. You have to put 20% down, and people just can't say they have enough money to live, maybe put a little bit of savings away, but the deposit and the down payment portion is really the driver here. So with around 50% of homeowners not having that, this is one of the biggest reasons why Vancouver has been secured and why we haven't seen these 30 to 40, 50% losses that I know a lot of people are hoping to happen here. So it will be interesting. I will be doing a video when the next census data comes out, because I'd love to see if anything has changed in the last 5 years. Unfortunately, they only do the census numbers every 5 years, but the most recent data that we have does illuminate the fact that not as many people are in a position where they need to liquidate. The biggest subsection right now are those who purchased from 2019 onward that are getting hurt real bad in this market. In 2019, 2020, even 2021, there were still individuals in multiple offer situations. They overpaid for homes, interest rates went way up. And then as you can see with this job data, especially when we curtail it to those who are purchasing in the last couple of years, they're going to be people in those core ages where unemployment continues to go up. So you overpaid for a home, interest rates went up, you may have lost your job or had to be demoted to part-time work. And that is why we've seen some of these price declines. So anyone who purchased before 2019, for the most part, is doing pretty well. I know I have an upcoming video showing some sales in the area where people are selling for pricing less than what they paid for in 2009. But for the most case, it is this subsection of people that are in this 35 to 40 range who bought from 2019 onward that are in a real pinch right now.